What's approaching the supreme moment? Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead.
What's good? Alright, let's have a little bit of fun today. This is going to be a ridiculously terrible Rainbow Star free-to-play villains team. I am going to have to use the LR Metal Cooler just because I need the key link helps, or the key boost from the leader skill, as well as the Ginyu unit, because these guys are absolutely terrible in terms of linking together. So this is the monster carrot, medium chance to stun, so obviously went with additional attacks for the potential level skills. Probably one of the most decent units out of the group, and that's not really saying much either. So this is the most recent one. This is the Extreme Intelligence Final Form Cooler unit. I did give him pretty much a heavy focus on criticals. That way, he can hit as hard as he possibly can. The next one is the Tech Super Boo free-to-play unit. That's you can farm this guy from the Majin Buu event. So pretty much went full crits on this guy because he doesn't provide any special status effects or anything from the super attack or passive. Lastly, this is going to be the Hachiyak unit. I probably maxed this guy out a long time ago, maybe close to a year now, but he does have the ability to recover 40% HP when he KOs an enemy. I just gave him level 14 additional attack and level 12 criticals. Hopefully these guys eventually get a Dokkan Awaken at some point, we'll see. I did also have to include the Rainbow Star LR Ginyu Force because the passive provides +3 key and 7,777 for the attack. So like I said, this isn't a great team. Actually, it's a terrible team. So I needed all the key boosts that I could possibly get. These guys don't link together well at all, so I will put in the pinned comment links to videos where each of the units are showcased on a little bit more proper and better team. So if you're interested, definitely make sure to check that out. Like I said, this is more or less just to have a little bit fun, switch things up a little bit, and yeah, just troll around a little bit. That would be crazy though if a couple of these units actually got a Dokkan Awaken sometime in the foreseeable future and actually got quite a bit of an upgrade. That would actually make things very interesting, but I just don't see that happening. So for those wondering why the hell I even wasted orbs on these following units, really it just comes down to boredom. That's really what it all comes down to. I mean, every now and then I like to switch around and just have a little bit of fun, seeing obscure, ridiculously outdated and terrible units at 100%. For some weird reason, I get satisfaction out of that. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you guys are enjoying the video just as much as I am. It's always nice to be able to switch things up, and instead of showing off the most powerful, strongest units in the game, you bring out these really old units that are honestly freaking terrible, and have a little bit of fun with it, I was hoping that he would KO Frieza, that way the passive would have kicked in, but it doesn't really matter because they're at full HP. At least the Final Form Cooler and LR Cooler does link relatively well. They have one or two link skills that they do share, so at least for those two guys, well, not two guys, but at least for the Final Form Cooler unit, he can do okay with this setup. The rest of the guys, like I said, pretty terrible. I mean, ridiculously bad is probably the best way to put it. And again, I needed the cooler unit for the +3 key boost from the leader skill, and then I also needed the Ginyu Force because of the +3 key from the passive skill. So I did test it out with a double lead Rainbow Star Ginyu Force setup, but because the links are so terrible amongst the team overall, yeah, I really just had to bring the Metacooler army as the leaders, unfortunately. So I kind of screwed up there and thought I had enough ki for the Super Boo unit, but unfortunately just one short. And he only has level 6 for additional attacks and level 20 for criticals, so you know, chances of him getting an additional attack is pretty slim. Monster Carrot does have some benefits. I will go ahead and say that he does have a medium chance to stun the attacked enemy, so you know, as you see there, I mean, he does have a decent chance to stun the enemy, so he out of the group, he's probably the most worthwhile, I would say, and that's, like I said, that's really not saying much, but there are some benefits to that. And I think for the Hachiyak unit, if he gets a Dokkan Awaken and gets substantially improved, recovering 40% from KOing an enemy could actually be beneficial for, you know, events like Battle Road and what's the other one I'm thinking? Battlefield, I guess. I could certainly see some benefits with that. The cooler unit is probably the hardest hitting out of the bunch, and mainly because the link with the LR Metal Cooler is probably what's providing that attack boost. They do, like, Final Form Cooler has big bad bosses, and I think the other one was Thirst for Conquest, so you are looking at a few link skills that do boost the attack. And that's the thing about these units is, first of all, they really don't have that many link skills to begin with. I think most of them have 4 to 5 max. I would say probably 4, and then out of that 4, there's maybe 1 toward key links. Everything else is either like an HP recovery or some sort of attack boost, but the problem is a lot of these guys don't share any of the links, so that's pretty much what provides the problem with this team setup. But like I said, I mainly ran this team just to have a little bit fun, and wasn't looking for any you know, power output, powerhouse type setup, you know what I mean? So it's more or less just having a little bit of fun. The Monster Carrot's ability to stun the enemy is definitely helping avoid any you know, HP reduction, so that does help. I'm trying to remember the first unit that I actually maxed out of this group. I have a feeling it's probably the Hachiyak unit, and then maybe the Super Boo unit. I know Final Form Cooler was the last one I did, and that was pretty recent. I'd say about probably about a week ago. So that was something that I had thought about for a very long time, and you know, the event finally came back, and I just sat down and, you know, decided to actually go through the grind of it. Yeah, it's a really big pain to grind for the medals, so kind of glad that's over with. You know, for those units that do have the critical levels at a high level, I mean, they can hit pretty decent even with a 70% lead. Again, the biggest problem with this setup is link skills. Like I keep saying, none of them share really any link skills, so that's definitely problematic. And it kind of reminds me of when I first started playing Dokkan Battle, like, without really knowing the whole system. You know, you kind of throw in a bunch of units that you think are strong and then end up struggling really bad, and you're wondering why. So it kind of takes me back and reminds me of that a little bit. You know, obviously the LR Cooler and LR Guinea Force are providing the most damage and actually helping clear through this event. But I mean, overall, I mean, these guys are okay. Nothing worthwhile to actually invest the orbs into. I'm not going to recommend you do this because it's probably not worth it. Actually, it's more than likely not worth it, but I just did it for entertainment purposes, so hopefully you guys are getting some entertainment value as well. You know, it's more or less just that fun. So 342,000 is actually pretty decent, but we're talking about a very, very old event as well, so in newer settings they're not going to hit like this at all. Like, you'll be lucky if they hit for maybe 100,000, 150,000 with the critical. That's probably the expectations with these units. I know for the Final Form Cooler unit, on an optimal setup, which is the movie bosses, I mean, he was able to hit for about 350,000 with the critical. So I mean, that's certainly not bad, but I actually scaled it down to Boss Rush 3 on that one. So for Boss Rush 4 and 5, I would say no more than 150,000 with the criticals would probably be the damage output for these units on a best case scenario. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, he was able to hit for 400,000 there, but this is, like I said, a very, very old event. So this is pretty much the absurd free-to-play Rainbow Villains team, so hopefully you enjoyed it.